what costs less than a tank of gas, turns your TV into a smart home hub, and might just be the best budget streamer of 2024? Well, let's talk about the ON 4K Pro. Jason Howell here, and I recently picked up Walmart's latest $50 ON 4K Pro streamer, first released earlier in the summer 2024. And I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed. After spending extensive time with the twice as expensive Google TV streamer, that's $100. You can actually find my full review of that device here as well. The ON 4K Pro matches it in many ways and at half the price. Of course, it's not perfect, but before we get to the trade-offs, let's dive into the design. Now, the ON 4K Pro comes in a sleek black design, which is going to blend nicely with most home theater setups. It actually features a fabric outer layer on top that looks pretty premium, but it's really important to note that cloth designs like this one have been known to collect dust over time. I've certainly had this with devices in the past, so keep that in mind. It's going to get dusty. You're going to have to clean it over time. Underneath is a rubber surround, a rubber footing actually, that'll keep it from shifting easily on the tabletop surface. That keeps it nice and in place. On the back, you'll find a 100 megabit Ethernet port, which is a trade-off. There's no gigabit port included here, but at least it has Ethernet built in. Also, a nice premium feature, an HDMI CEC port for seamless integration with the other hardware in your setup, and a USB 3.0 port for expandable storage. You could also plug in external peripherals if you ever want to add a mouse or a keyboard to the device for some reason. Now on the front, you're going to find a single button, just one button. This is the remote finder button. It's a lifesaver for those of us who are always losing our remote controls. You just tap it and listen for the tone coming from the remote control wherever it may be. And once you locate the remote, you just hit any button on the remote control and it will cancel the alarm that's sounding. It's a very simple procedure. Now, one unique feature is its built-in microphone and speaker, essentially turning this into a Google Home hub. Now, this works even when your TV is off, and there's a physical mic switch on the side for privacy concerns. If you want to cancel the mic altogether, you just flip that switch and it goes off. A 4 LED readout on top lets you know when it's actually listening and processing your voice queries. Now under the hood, we've got the Amlogic S905X4 processor. It's a mouthful. Now, it's not the newest chip in the world. It was actually introduced back in 2019, so quite a bit old at this point. You will notice some performance slowdowns throughout the experience as a result. The device is paired with 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of internal storage. As for video support, I think it's pretty solid considering the price point. You've got 4K, 60 frames per second, HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and Dolby Vision. And then on the audio side, you've got Dolby Atmos and Dolby Digital Plus. Sorry, you're not going to find DTS-X support here. But one nice feature that even the Google TV streamer doesn't have is support for Wi-Fi 6. This is a great step toward future-proofing your streaming setup. Now, the included remote control is a bit of, I'd say, a mixed bag. It's comfortably sized, has a backlit button, so it's easier to use in the dark, which is really nice. I love that. The jog wheel up near the top is well designed. It actually makes on-screen typing less of a chore. I actually like the jog wheel here better than the one that's found on the Google TV streamer. However, it's a bit cluttered with dedicated app buttons for 4 different streaming apps and a large free TV button that some might find unnecessary. Making up for it, though, is a customizable button at the top, so you can program your favorite service or your favorite action to happen when you use it. To program it, you just tap it for the first time in the OS to bring up the menu, and then you either assign an app to it or have it switch the inputs on your TV. Note that the Google Home controls that you find on the Google TV streamer are not available on the ON 4K Pro, so keep looking for that. You're not going to find it. Now, the ON 4K Pro runs Android 12 for TV. The Google TV interface has always been all about content recommendations, and in my opinion, it can be a little hit or miss. It's meant to make finding what you want to watch easier, but I often find myself overwhelmed by the options and then just settling on an app-based experience as a result. It's common to find recommendations for content on apps that you don't have installed on the device, which kind of feels a little spammy. And there's no way to remove the rows that you don't care about. So basically you're locked into what Google thinks you want to see. Now, as for the performance, like I mentioned earlier, the UI can be a little bit choppy at very random times, likely due to the older processor and the lower amount of RAM on board. But honestly, I was actually pretty impressed by how little I saw these kinds of slowdowns considering the hardware. Now, the processor performed fine with Riptide GP, which is not a cutting edge game. It might not be amazing with more taxing games though. I did my best to test a few games on the device, but these days I find it really hard to find any games to install on Google TV to begin with. Now, like on the Google TV streamer, you will find Gemini assisted content summaries, so that's nice. You're also, surprisingly, going to find the new generative AI-driven screensaver functionality. You can either use the included templates or you can just use your voice to enter in your own prompts. Kids really enjoy that, and you know what can I say? I do too. One standout feature is the ability to use the On 4K Pro as a smart speaker even when the TV is turned off. So think of this as a streaming device that's also its own Google Home device, but it doesn't have the touch controls for volume on the top like some Google Home devices do. You're going to have to interact entirely with your voice, but this is a really great value add. Now, I will say that getting the microphone to pick up my voice commands with the TV turned off was a bit tricky at times. Sometimes it worked better than others, and quite frankly, it was kind of hard to know exactly why that was. So how does it stack up? Well, at half the price of the Google TV streamer, it offers similar functionality with some added perks like the USB port and the smart speaker capabilities. Sure, it's not perfect. The processor is definitely showing its age, and the 100 megabit Ethernet port might not cut it for hardcore local media streamers, but you got to remember, you're paying $50. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck here. If you're on a budget and want a capable streamer with some nice bonus extras, the On 4K Pro is hard to beat. It's not the absolute best at everything, but it gets you most of the way there for not a lot of money. Now, I'm working on a detailed comparison between this, the Google TV streamer, and the Apple TV 4K. Keep an eye out for that video coming very soon. And thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you're considering picking up the On 4K Pro. I'll see you next time.